what it's really all about. Being able to close that door and walk away from your car, hitting the trail with confidence, knowing that you've got everything you need to make it a successful trail. I'm Woodglue, and this is the Cleveland National Forest. It's the month of October, and what better time and place to talk about water carrying than right now out here. There hasn't been water out here probably since April, and so you got to carry your water, and you got to know how you want to go about it. There's the choice of the water bladder, or you've got the choice of carrying a bottle. So there's pros and cons to both, and I've gone the gamut, learned my lessons, and I've got my conclusions. Over the years, I've been carrying different variations of water equipment, water filters and dirty bags, and even a water pump. This is all stuff that I've had, and then beyond that is how you deliver the water into bottles or bladders. And the idea behind a dirty bag is that you collect water out of a stream or a puddle or river or whatever. You apply a filter onto the dirty bag, and then you filter into a clean bag or bottle or bladder. And this is a way that I've gone for quite a while. I have a Ebernew 1.5 liter dirty bag, and this thing ended up leaking water through its cap on a hike and getting the contents of my backpack soaked. So I stopped carrying water in that dirty bag after that. I still had the dirty bag, and I was using it, to filter on the spot, but I would carry it empty instead of with water. The choices between water filters is pretty wide ranged. There's a lot of different options that you can choose from. You have a lot of different cost categories and weights to look at too. Using a water pump is pretty nice. You can get filtered water really quickly, but the downside of that is the pump is really heavy. I have a Catadine water pump, and this thing was really cool for the few months that I had it in the pack. I didn't take long at trying to shave pack weights down to figure out that this thing needed to go. I have a Catadine B-free water filter, and this is my current device of choice. There isn't anything that I've found yet that's lighter than that, and it gives me pretty good results. I'm able to filter murky river water into clear drinking water, and I couldn't be happier with that. Filtering water out of the B-free is pretty simple. I can filter this right into my water bottle. I've come to like that a lot. With a water bladder, there's always the risk of having water inside your pack that could leak a hose or something. You have the hose that's always beating on your chest and reminding you to drink water. Probably the biggest concern with it is sucking down water and not realizing how quickly you're drinking it. I have a hike that I did on Mount San Jacinto. This is Southern California's second tallest mountain, and I'd spent a few days on trail, and on my last morning I wake up and I've got about a liter of water left, and I still had 9 miles to go. There's no water on trail to be had, so I ended up hiking down the mountain. It's getting hotter and hotter the more I descend, and I ended up sucking my water bladder really dry with still about a mile to go before I reached the water faucet at the bottom. It's nice to be able to monitor your water usage, and it's hard to do that with a water bladder. Getting water into your water bladder can always be a challenge. You're either filtering water into your bladder while it's inside the pack, or you pull it out of the pack, fill it up, and then you're sticking it back down in the pack. This is a time-consuming process either way. You know, I always feel like I could get clever and get water into the bladder without having to spend the time to remove it out of the pack. Well, then guess what? I get water spilling into my pack. So my clothes or my food or sleeping bag, whatever, is getting wet. Pulling it out of the pack and filling the bladder outside of the pack is much easier, but then you have to get this full water bladder down into your pack, and that could be difficult, you know, not to mention the opportunity to snag on something sharp that might be in your pack. So there's some complexities with water bladders that you don't find with water bottles. Either way, bottles or bladder, you gotta have some carrying capacity. You know, in an area like this, you'll be out here and you could do 25 miles before you see a drop of water on the trail somewhere. And I would even then be surprised. So water carrying capacity is really important. I found the lightest choice next to a bag is just a smart water bottle. These are 1 liter bottles, and they weigh just about nothing, and they're durable. So I could buy a smart water bottle at a gas station or something, and I'll keep that for 8, 10, 12 hikes, something like that. Wash them out at the end of the hike, and it's a good way to carry water in areas like this where you're not going to find any. Something else I've noticed with the water bladder hose is you're not able to get the hose clean, and inside here you'll get a blackness that starts to appear, and it's really tough to keep that clean. I've had experience with the bite valve going out and leaking all over the place, and so if you have one of these, you want to get one with a lock on it that isn't totally dependent on the bite valve working properly. Well, if you haven't gathered by now, my preference is to carry a water bottle, and the reasons are just simply by being burned a couple times. You know, sucking that water bladder bone dry was just downright scary, and then after my dirty water bag dumped water into my pack, it was a game changer. I started looking into other options, and it wasn't too long after that I started carrying water bottles. I like the option of being able to switch out water bottles, and I could just pull that bottle out of my pack and so now you know my preferences. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps me out. Until next time.